In this video, we are going to look at inverse functions. So now, before we solve these questions, let us look at what an inverse function is. So a function x mapped to y is just a special type of relation where for every x, a member of x, there is a unique y, a member of y to which it is mapped. So by unique we mean it should only be mapped to one of those elements. So the inverse function, denoted as like this, f inverse, this is just the opposite. So it's y to x, like that. Now we can solve these questions. Okay, so question 1 reads, find the inverse of the following functions. F of x is equal to, so it's equal to 2 minus x divided by 3x plus 2. So how do we find the inverse? So this is f of x, okay, equal to that. So how do we find the inverse? So the first step is so for this function we can see that our x should not be equal to negative 3 over 2, because when we equate this bottom to 0, then we will find that our x cannot be equal to negative 3. If it's equal to negative 3, this will be undefined. So the first step, what you do here is you let y equal to that function x over 3x plus 2. From there, what you will do is you make x the subject of the formula. So to make x the subject of the formula, you just cross multiply. Then you have that y multiplied by 3x plus 2 is equal to 2 minus x. You can expand that. Here you can expand. So you have that 3xy plus 2y is equal to 2 minus x. So you get that. So from here next, what do we do? So what you do next is you are going to group. So you are going to factor out on your y there. You're going to factor out y. So okay, how do I do that? So I can group y. Okay, let me do this. Let me factor out first. So if I factor out y, okay, I'll just get what's here on top. So instead, let us not do that, but what we can do there is we say 3x y, then we move this x to the left side, so that will be plus x is going to be equal to, so then we move the one with the y to the left, to the right I mean, so that will be 2 minus 2y, like that. So then from here I can factor out my x. So I factor out my x at this point. So I have 3y plus 1 is equal to 2y, like that. Then here I can divide over 3y plus 1, then over 3y plus 1. Then I'll get that x is equal to 2 minus 2y divided by 3y plus 1. So when you reach this point, is what you're going to do is you have to make a swap between your x and y. So wherever there is x, you put y, and wherever there's y, you put x. So that's what you're going to do. So where there's x there, we're going to put y. Then where there's y, we put x. So we have 2 minus 2x divided by we have 3x plus 1. Then where there's y, you replace f inverse of x. So f inverse of x will be equal to 2 minus 2x divided by 3x plus 1. Okay, so that's how we solve this equation. So we see that for this inverse function, x is not defined at negative 1 over 3. So this function, I mean the function itself, the inverse function is not defined at negative 1 over 3. Okay, how do we do the next question? How do we do that next question? Okay, so the next question, alright, so the next question, okay, so it's missing a root here, cube root, supposed to be cube root here. Okay, so I'll indicate that like this. So g of x should be equal to cube root of x minus 1. So how do we do this? We replace y where there's g of x, then you have a root of third root like that. Then here you make x the subject of the formula. So you need to get rid of that third root. Then what you do is you say y is equal to, so you can rewrite that in this manner. Then you cube. So to get rid of that cube root like this, you cube, or you raise to the power 3 on both sides. Then you have here 3 cubed to be equal to, so the 3 divides into the 3 there, then you just have x minus 1. So this is going to be, if I move negative 1 to that side and write x, and I write it in the reverse, that will be x. Then when it moves, this becomes positive. The additive inverse of negative 1 is positive 1, like that. So wherever there is x, I will replace with y, and where there's y, I will replace with x. So I will have that my y is equal to x cubed plus 1. Then where there's y, I put f inverse of x is equal to x squared, x cubed plus 1. So this is my inverse function. Let us do the last question. Okay, let us do the last question. So the last question, we have that h of x is equal to 1 over 1 minus 1. So you replace y there, then I have 1 over x minus 1, like that. So from this stage, what do I do next? So I can cross multiply here. So I'll say y x minus 1 is going to be equal to 1, because this is over 1, like this. So then I can expand. So when I expand here, I have x, yx minus y equal to 1. Okay, then from here I can move my y the other side. So I have yx is equal to 1 plus y. Then I can divide my y here and divide my y the other side. Then I will get that x is equal to 1 plus y over y. Then where there's x, I'll replace with y, and where there's y with x, they will swap. So that will be y is equal to 1 plus x over x. So then where there's y, I'll put f inverse of x is going to be equal to 1 plus x over x. So that's how we find the inverse.